Today we've got someone from out of town who's planning some exciting routes right here in Bridgeport with a fresh new business model that I'm sure you'll be excited to hear about. So I want to thank Benny Rivera for coming to our studio today, and welcome to Bridgeport.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, Benny, let's get right into it, okay? Then
Sure.
we'll get back to you and your story. Okay. Tell me a little bit about you, about what you're planning to do here in Bridgeport, because I think that's the excitement.
Okay. Well, first, let me start by saying I've been now in the state for 5 years, going on 6. So I am a Connecticut resident and fell in love with the state. And so being originally a New Yorker, my background was in music. Fortunate enough to have a record deal and record and travel the world, but that's a whole nother life. But anyway, and so that passion for music always was in me. So my employer at the time made me an offer to come to Connecticut. This is how I ended up here. And so I fell in love with the state, and I noticed that there was something that was missing, especially in the downtown Bridgeport area. And I'm a Stratford resident, and so it's not far. It's close by. I stop in all the time. And so I came up with this idea. And just to go back a little bit, you asked what was a little bit about myself. So I'm married with 3 children, and I'm a proud father, husband, and son. And so there's no other way to explain it but that. I'm a family man, and with a huge passion for music. And so what I'm trying to do is just bring a little bit of excitement down to Bridgeport.
So tell us what it is.
Are you guys ready?
No, I want to go right after that.
Should we
first.
clap? Should we all clap? Yeah. Let's all clap. Let's clap. Yeah. All right. What I'm bringing down, the name of the business is BLVD Karaoke, and it's a true karaoke bar. And what that means is we have private rooms that we could rent. You could reserve. And so there's 5 rooms, and they're all themed after the 5 boroughs of New York. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be any Connecticut artists that are not going to be featured in my place, which they are. We have a huge, beautiful John Mayer picture because we went all out. We have tons of memorabilia and autographs.
So this is happening because you've invested.
Oh no, this is happening.
You signed the lease?
Done.
You're in.
We're done. We're in the I like you. We're in the final stages now of painting and furnishing and finishing up. And so we're looking for should I tell them?
Yeah.
We're looking for mid-March or so. Early to
Okay.
mid-March is what we're looking for to have a grand opening. And we're getting tons of support from the town and from Bridgeport and from everyone. Everyone's just super supportive. I'll tell you a quick funny story.
Yeah.
I went to drop off some materials, and so it was late night. It was around 8 o'clock, and this was about 3 days ago. When I pulled into Main Street, it's located on Main Street for everybody to know. And so when I reached down there, it was blocked off. The street was blocked off, and so there was a horrible accident. I pray that everyone's okay. There was firefighters and police on the scene, and everyone said everyone's okay, so that's good. God, thank God. And so I had some materials that I need to bring into the location, but the street was blocked off. So I said, listen, there's no rush. I'm so sorry, but will it eventually, am I able to bring this stuff in? The guy was like, he pointed to me, he said, Benny. And I said, I'm from New York. So it's like right away, it's like, wait a minute, where I know you from? And he said, I just finished reading your article. in the CT Post. Amazing, man. I'm super excited. I can't wait to bring my, hey, John. And he called his buddy John over. These are firefighters. And so the other firefighter came over. And so they're talking about how they was just talking about the article they read and how they're excited. So I'm really thankful. I'm so happy that everyone's excited, and thank you so much for the support. And going back to what you said, yes, this is a huge investment for myself and for my family. I want to put this out here because I do want to make this point clear because, there is no huge backing. There is no huge organization. There is no huge company. There is no quiet money guys. There is none of that stuff. It's Benny Rivera who took a huge chance, a huge gamble, and who's putting it all on the line.
So you don't owe anybody
I don't owe
else.
anybody nothing.
Okay.
Thank God, by the grace of God, I had a very good job for many years.
Okay.
And so I was able to to put myself in a situation to bring this to Bridgeport.
And you know why that's important is that because that means we have to come out to support you.
I hope
You're
so.
putting
I
up,
pray.
we've got to put up as Bridgeport area residents, whether you live in Trumbull, Stratford, Bridgeport, Fairfield, whatever. If you enjoy karaoke, tell us about what does that mean to have 5 rooms? How does that lay out?
Okay, so when you walk in, I'll give you guys a visual through the radio, right?
Please.
So when you walk in, there's a greeter there. And so she's, you know, if you have a reservation, you can actually have a seat because there's a couch there. You can sit down and wait for your reservation to come up. Or if you're just attending the bar, she'll greet you and bring you around into, because it's a short wall. She'll bring you around the wall. And then you walk in, there's a huge 25-foot bar. People standing around, having drinks, having a nice time. And there also is karaoke at the bar. So you don't have, listen up, you do not have to have a reservation to enjoy karaoke at the bar. All you have to do is request a song.
Okay.
Okay? You request a song and you can have fun at the bar, and that's your karaoke.
And that's
there.
free. You can request a song free.
You request a song and that's it. Now, if you have a party, maybe you're on a double date, 4 you guys, you know, maybe triple date, 6, you know, maybe just you and your wife, whatever. We have rooms for that. We have a smaller room that seats 2 to 4. We have a larger room, seats 6 to 9, and we have 2 huge rooms in the back that can seat over 35 people. Wow. So now, you know, of course, I got to make one of the...
Is there a phenomenon that I missed?
Yes, there is a huge...
That's going on?
Yes, absolutely.
What is it? Explain that.
It's karaoke. People love music. Who
in
doesn't
small
love music?
parties as well as large parties.
Listen, I'm going to tell you like this, right? And this is all new to me as well. Not now, but at the time when I'm telling the story. So a very good friend of mine, her name is Shelly. She had a birthday party. So my wife and I, we don't get out much. We're family. You know, we got 3 small kids, so we're home all the time. So when we get invitations to places, we're excited, but we have to make sure we pick the right one because it's like, you know, this might be the only day of the month. You know what I mean? So we'll go out. So it was a karaoke party. Now, from what I thought, people singing, hanging out at the bar, standing on the bar counter, and you're going nuts. I'm not into that. I'm like, I don't know. Right. But we went because she's a very good friend. So we went. When I walked in, they walked us in. They kept walking, and we passed the bar. And I said, what is this? And when they brought us to the back, there was a few rooms back there. They brought us and shoveled us into a room. Waitress would come, knock on the door every now and then, and we had our own party in there. Okay. That changed everything. That was the game changer.
So like you're renting a little space.
You're renting a space. So how it works is, and I don't want to talk numbers right now, but what I will say is you could go on a website, you can call the location, you could even use a social media. And so there's a fee for the booking of the room. Very inexpensive. You have no idea. Very inexpensive. It's not expensive at all. And a small fee per extra person. You book that room. That room is yours for a 2-hour block. 2-hour block of time. If you want more, we could discuss that. It is more time available. That room is yours. In the larger rooms, there's a complimentary bottle that comes with the room. Waitress comes in. She explains everything to you. How everything works is a very simple system. I have over 10,000 songs to pick from. Each room has its own individual karaoke system. So you're having your own party. You know, so you and your friends, you can sit there and be comfortable and sing and belt out your favorite tunes and not have to worry about being judged or having to hold a key. You know what I mean? So in the privacy of this room, you can have fun and let loose and be whatever.
And have you seen the most introverted person in a room like that let out?
Yes, my wife right here.
Oh yeah, no, she said you.
Well, listen, you know, for those that don't know, okay, like I said, I made music. I was fortunate enough to be able to get out there.
And we're going to talk about that.
And we'll talk about that. That's fine. And so when you're recording, when you're performing your own music, you're comfortable with that, right? But when you pull up a song by, let's say, Aerosmith, right, and you might know a few of the words because I'm an 80s baby, so I know it all, right? So it's like, okay, you're kind of shy. You know, you're not really... Brother, you should have seen me at my friend Shelly's birthday party.
Is that right?
I was on top of the couch. I was belting out everything from Beastie Boys
can you record
to REM.
Is there a recording function?
There's 2 options. And this is a part of the package. It's a additional, add-on where you could walk away with a flash drive of your audio recording. Okay. And then also you could walk away with an MP4 recording, which is a video.
So each room has a video camera in it as well?
Each room has its own separate thing.
So this is all technology. There's a lot of high tech in here.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
cool. And Elias, you want to speak to this a little bit, because Elias is our producer, and we talked about you were excited. What was it that you think your age group would be excited about? Elias is in his late 20s.
The fact that it's open 7 days a week for karaoke. We don't have to wait for a certain day.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna be in there day one.
Wow,
For sure.
Well, thank
And I'm
you,
bringing
thank
a
you.
group.
Listen, come on down. And like you said, everyone is welcome to come down. I don't care if you live in Norwalk, Trumbull, Hamden. I don't care. Come on down, because if you support small businesses, if you support a guy that has a dream, that's trying to do it on his own, that is following his dreams, and you have a passion for music, this is your place.
Okay, that's cool. And tell me about why you chose Bridgeport in terms of any market research that you did, or was it gut? What's your feeling about the audience and the market?
I have to be totally honest. I'm not going to take the credit. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to be very honest. I wasn't looking at Bridgeport originally. And so, I have no problem saying where I was. We were looking at downtown New Haven. Mm-hmm. And so one day driving through Bridgeport, I have family members that have businesses in downtown Bridgeport. As a matter of fact, my cousin has a jewelry shop called Junior's Jewelry right in downtown Bridgeport. Mm-hmm. That's my real cousin. That's my dad and his dad are brothers. For some reason, when I say my cousin,
what street is that on?
John Street. It's on John
I go there.
Street.
I go there for my watches and stuff like that.
Make sure when you speak to Junior, you tell him you know me. That's my real cousin. See,
that's next door to Victor's Taylor.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's interesting because when I say cousin, people think, oh yeah, he's your friend, and you call him your cousin. No, he's my real cousin.
Okay.
But anyway, and so I was heading down to visit him, and his son owns a tattoo parlor across the street. Okay. I believe the name is Evolution. And so I was just visiting my cousin in the jewelry shop, and just to talk to him, just visit him. And so when we drove down Main Street, we noticed these open spaces, retail spaces that were available. And my wife actually pointed it out. She said, look, it's available. Why don't you give him a call? Downtown Bridgeport is good. It looks like it's coming up. There's construction going on all the time. You should really look into that. And so then is when I did a little bit of market research, and we started looking at some trends and really realized that Bridgeport is amazing. There's a lot of stuff going on in Bridgeport, and so this is I don't want to call it a niche. I don't like it saying niche, but it's something that is much needed. It's a type of entertainment that's much needed. Mm-hmm. So why
will
not
there be food too?
Yeah, we're gonna have bar food. So we'll have the boneless wings, mozzarella sticks, pot stickers. We'll have jalapeno poppers, bar food like that.
And it'll have a studio type look, a recording studio type look.
So so I really went for sleek, clean, light, clean vibe.
Very contemporary.
Everything is white, light gray, and dark gray. Everything is light, white gray, dark grays. So when you come in, you feel clean. It's a nice, bright feel. Mm-hmm. Like I said, we invested tons of money into memorabilia. So we have autographed pictures from everyone from Billy Joel to Madonna, authentic autographed memorabilia. And so that's going to be everywhere, and it's going to be a nice, cool, urban kind of meets metropolitan meets. It's weird. Is
it lunch and dinner or just after hours?
It's going to be lunch and dinner. Yeah. Okay. So we'll be open Monday through Wednesday. We'll be opening a little before 2. I'm still on the fence between making it 1 or 2, but it'll probably be the hours will be 2 to 12, Monday through Wednesday, and then Thursday through Saturday it'll be at noon to 2 a.m.
So, what was the reason for karaoke versus something else?
All right, Frank.
You're a business. You're an entrepreneur, right?
I've owned. Look,
you've had other
when
types
I was
of businesses.
16. When I was 16, I had a trucking
let's go
company.
back now. No,
now
you know what?
Back.
Before we even go there, let's go before that. Tell me about your folks, where you come from, how you ended up in New York, were you born
the full
there?
Deal.
Let's go with the whole deal.
Okay, so my parents were Ecuadorian. Mm-hmm. I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens, and my parents are from Ecuador. My dad came here at a very early age, enlisted in the U.S. Army. And so he did things the right way, and he brought certain family members over. So I was born in Brooklyn, in Flatbush, Brooklyn, in the early 80s. So we all know that that's kind of like, it's tough, man. And I was a latchkey child, so I had to really do for my own, you know. So I know it sounds crazy. You can't do this now. And I think back and I look at my son who's 6. He can't tie his sneakers. And at 6, I was getting up, and I hate to make fun of my son. My wife is looking at me now. But I would get up and I would shower, brush my hair, brush my teeth, make myself breakfast, you know, dress myself, because I was going to Catholic school at the time, Holy Innocents in Brooklyn. I would dress up, put my tie on, iron my pants, jump on a D train, and go to my school at 6. That's insane. And then come back, and my parents still wouldn't be home. And come back because they were trying to provide and give us something. You know, so they work really hard. They work a job, sometimes 2 jobs to take care of me, really. So between my mother and my father, I'm the only child. But my father has kids from a previous marriage, and so does my mother. But together, it was just me. And so I was born in Brooklyn. Like I said, I was raised in Brooklyn until I was 12. And then from there, my parents said, I don't know how they fell in. Well, they were working at JFK Airport at the time. That's how I believe they came to get accustomed with Queens somewhat. So we ended up moving to Queens. But, you know, it was interesting because even though we had backyards and grass, it was still South Jamaica, Queens.
Right, still tight.
So it was still a little rough.
Yeah.
And so that's when it hit me, my passion for music. You know, sports, when I was young, I loved sports. Baseball, you couldn't tell me anything. The 80s Mets, come on. Who's better than the 80s Mets?
I got you, 86.
Let's be real.
I'm still waiting.
I am too, man.
2015 was okay, but that's not it.
Gluttons for pain, man.
Yep.
But, and so then Queens kind of, because again, it kept working, and it was, you know, so I asked my parents to give me buy me some turntables. And the turntables really were my escape. And so I started DJing. Then I got into producing. Then I got into writing music. And this is back in 1992.
Oh, you're in high school.
This is a junior high school.
Okay.
92 was elementary, going to junior high school. In New York, is junior high school, 7th and 8th grade. And then high school would be 9 and 12. So I was able to get these 2 turntables. They weren't much, but I had them, and I was super excited. And so like I said, DJ'd, then I got into production, and I started writing. And I noticed that I felt good. It was good, and it kept me busy, and I wasn't out in the streets running around, you know? And so that, I guess my parents wanted to encourage me to continue doing that. And so they were awesome and very supportive. And so around 1998 I would say, was my first, I don't like to say big break, but I got an opportunity. I met a rapper by the name of Craig Mack. Craig Mack was signed to Diddy's label, Bad Boy. He's the one that spearheaded that entire movement. So he was the first artist on Sean Puffy Combs' first label, Bad Boy. And he really broke everything. He made it possible for Biggie to come, Faith, and all these other artists. And so he took a liking to me, and I was fortunate enough to go on the road with him. So he took me on the road with him at a young age.
At what age?
17, late 17 and 18.
And on the road, what are you doing on the road? What's
I
your
paid
job?
I paid my dues,
You're
brother.
lifting and
you
moving
know it.
and...
So I was just speaking to my wife about this yesterday. It's funny because the game has changed so drastically. No one's paying dues anymore. Everyone just gets out, puts their music online, SoundCloud, what have you, and now they might have a small following, and now they think I don't want to curse, but they think they're, you know.
Yeah, something.
No, but back then, you know, you had Biz Markie. Biz Markie made EPMD pay their dues. EPMD made Craig Mack pay his dues. And Craig Mack made me pay my dues. And when I had my first deal, I had a guy that was helping me out. So it's just...
So what was your deal?
So my deal was I would... it initially started by carrying bags. It initially started carrying bags, bringing him to the room, making sure everything is good, and making sure he's okay. Watching out for him, keeping eyes to see who's here, who's there. And I don't want to say security, but somewhat security, and just making sure he was okay. And that moved on to me hyping the crowd for him. And that's when everything changed. So now I would grab the mic, I would get out there before he got on, in between him and, let's say, a Ja Rule. And I would get on stage and I would scream, "Let me hear you say bad boy. You know, so it was like call and repeat, and it was amazing. And so I was able to get the crowd ready.
These are
for
large
him.
venues.
These are large venues. We're talking about, and sometimes they were small venues, you know, 3,000 people, 2,000 people, and sometimes it was large stadiums. And so I would get the crowd ready for him, and then he would come out and perform, and I would stay on stage with him, and I would be what's called in hip hop a hype man. And so we did that for a few years, and then he began to help me develop my own thing. And being around him and traveling the world, I got to meet amazing people from all around the world, from London to Japan to Germany to Sweden to, you know, so
you traveled internationally?
I traveled, internationally and nationally as well. So now I was able to forge some relationships that catapulted me into my own solo efforts, and that's what really helped me. And I give him all the credit. He was my mentor, and I always said that. God rest his soul. He recently passed away. He passed away, ironically, March 12th, which is a few days after Biggie's death, which was March 9th. And so he passed away in South Carolina. There's a whole thing revolving his death, surrounding his death, because they say he was in a cult down in South Carolina. But anyway, so from there I moved on and started doing my own thing. And so I was lucky to get my first deal at, I believe I was 21, 22, where, and this is interesting too, because reggaeton wasn't big like it was in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. Reggaeton was only a thing in Puerto Rico. That was it. And so EMI and some other folks wanted to have me kind of help produce and write these songs for these people, these reggaeton artists, into English, because they were going to cross market them and bring them over to the States. And so they flew me out there. I went out there for a weekend, and I spent a weekend in Puerto Rico, and I wrote 13 songs in 2 days. No sleep. They stayed. They had a guy watching me, making sure I don't run off. It was a really something out of a movie. And so I wrote 13 songs for them. I left. Of course, they jerked me out of the other half of the money, but they gave me the first bit, which was good, and I used that money to open up my first business.
Yeah, the music industry is a very dirty industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the boxing industry.
Well, what it is, not to delve too much into it, but what it is everyone is in everyone's pockets. And so if you're lucky enough to get this label to give you this money, people think you get signed, you get this record contract, you're famous, you're done, you're rich. It doesn't work like that. Essentially, it's a loan. So what these record labels do is they give you this money, this is your budget, you take this money, and then you go off and you produce an album, and you bring it back to them. And if you're hot enough, they'll put it out. If not, you hit the shelf. Simple as that. But the problem is, sometimes the A&R person that's handling your project that the label gives you, or the people that you're working with, or your manager, will pull you in directions to work with certain people that they're in cahoots with. Mm-hmm. So now when your video costs $30,000, maybe your video didn't cost $30,000. Maybe it cost $20,000. Where did the other 10 go? Now, again, I'm just broad. I'm not saying this is what happened to me in my situation. I had very good people with me, but a similar situation.
In general, where did your career go?
As a whole?
No, music.
Music. Where did my career go musically?
Yeah. What was the height of it?
The height of it was getting a distribution deal and being able to record an album. And I recorded the first record, which was called Rock It Out.
Are you a performer or
yes,
a writer?
I'm the artist. I'm everything.
You're the artist.
I produced it, I wrote it, and I performed it.
All right.
And I funded everything. And so all Universal had to do was put out the record. That's it. I paid for everything. And so we recorded Rock It Out. It did well. You know, it was played on, I think it was 32 stations nationwide, right? So when it was time for the remix, I got two of hip-hop's biggest artists to be featured on the record, which was Jadakiss and Fabulous. So they got on the record, they got on the remix, we put it out. Everybody said, Benny's out of here. Take a picture with him now. He's gone. It's done. It's over. He's out of here. Mm-hmm. And a few months later, I was in Home Depot working a 9 to 5.
Wow.
That's
the way the music industry is.
This is how it works. But you know what? You have to humble yourself sometimes and take, a few steps back for the greater good of your future.
It says that your bio says you attended community college. You was a general manager at a PC Richard and Son. So you had to humble yourself, but yet you were able to save enough money to open up this business in Bridgeport. Tell us, for all the young people who are interested in understanding how to cultivate success, tell them what formula you might recommend.
I'm glad you said that, because that's very important, super important for young people to see this and say, I can do that. Because I'm nobody special. We all have our talents. I feel like God blesses us all.
I'll argue that we're all special, and you're very special.
No. We listen. God gives us all something.
Right.
But some of us will go through life not tapping into that something, and saying, "What do? You're a waste of space." And I hate to sound like that, but there's amazing people with amazing talent that will never ever hone in on that talent. So for everyone that's young that's out there, it is possible. You can do it. And I want to make this very clear. I remember watching a movie called, I don't know if it was Carlito's Way. I think it was A Bronx Tale, if I recall. And the guy said, Sonny said, the working man is a sucker. No, it wasn't Sonny. It was the kid. What was the kid's name?
Oh, yeah, the kid who
Cologito? No, it wasn't Cologito.
Was his friend. Yeah.
He said the working man is a sucker. He said it to Rob De Niro when he was in the house. But I'm here to tell everyone that the working man is not a sucker.
Oh, it was De Niro's son?
Right.
Okay,
I think it was A Bronx Tale, and Sonny was
okay.
right. So his father was a honest guy. He worked at 9 to 5. He was a bus driver.
Right.
But his son, being in the streets with Sonny and running the streets, he said to his father, who worked every day to put food on the table, he said the working man is a sucker. But I'm here to tell everyone, every young person, everyone, period, not just young people, the working man is not a sucker. The working man is an honest man, a man that wants to go out there and provide for his family. You know how good it feels when I come home and I open up my fridge and I fill it up with groceries?
But what was the key to your, at this age, your success to date?
All I can say is this. Going back to the music, I was able to make a little bit of money because I didn't stop. I was in everyone's face. I kept going. I had that drive. I had that hunger. You got to want more. Every day you got to want more.
But you got to work it.
But you have to work it.
Yeah.
You know, when people say The Secret, they watch a documentary called The Secret, they say, speak it into existence and make a vision board. All that doesn't work if you don't make it happen. So you got to make it happen. So I made it happen. When I got that money, I was fortunate enough to open up my first business. My first business actually was my second business, because the first business I had when I was 16 with my dad was a trucking company.
Okay.
The first real business by myself, when I had that money, I opened up a tattoo parlor. It was called 808 Ink on Merrick Boulevard in Queens.
So you're a serial entrepreneur.
Yes, this is now my fourth business.
Okay.
And so granted me the opportunity to understand business, learn business, and know what it takes to do business. When the music didn't work out for me, and I still have great opportunities, I'm just focused on something else right now. And who's to say maybe I won't take another jab at it, but right now I'm focused on this, Boulevard Karaoke. And so I hate when I lose my train of thought. So much that runs through my mind. But I was able to learn business with 808 Ink. And understand what it takes to run a business.
Are any of those businesses still going on, or are you now onto this?
808 Inc. was a casualty of the recession. Back in 2008, I was paying rent and paying utilities and paying for artists. I had a huge payroll, and they were like this, playing Xbox every time I would walk in, because I was on the road. So when I would come back, I would walk in, they were like, twiddling their thumbs and playing Xbox, and I'm paying for all this.
Right.
So before it got too crazy or too funky, like they say, I just closed down and I did something else.
What were you doing just before this?
So and that's where I was just about to say. So from there, when the music didn't work out, didn't pan out like I thought it would, I humbled myself. So I was home every day, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, it was so crazy. It was consuming me. The dogs barking, the babies crying. I was so accessible. I was right in the corner, friends calling me. It was just so much I needed to get out. And so I got a 9 to 5, and I went to work at Home Depot for $9.55 an hour.
Wow.
And I'm driving the S-Class Mercedes to work. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying this is what we have to do sometimes, is to make some sacrifices. There's people that came in and looked at me working there, might have seen my video, and it was embarrassing a little bit to me, but I didn't care, because I knew that I was doing this for my family. So I took that on the chin, and I went to work at Home Depot. a 9 to 5 for $9 an hour. It makes me laugh to this day. And so a gentleman walks in one day, and I kind of speed things up. I know I'm all over the place, but he walks in, and he was from PC Richard. He was a manager at PC Richard, and he scouts me. Long story short, he recruits me, brings me over to PC Richard, offers me a job. I go to work at PC Richard. 6 months later, I get promoted to assistant manager. And then a few months later or a year later, I became a general manager. And then they sent me out here to Connecticut to help out.
Which PC Richard were you at?
So initially, I was in Regal Park in Queens. And then, so I went from there. I've been 9 PC Richard stores. So Regal Park in Queens, and then I went to Bayshore in Long Island.
But you ended up here in Connecticut.
And then I ended up here in Connecticut. So
Where,
I went
in
from
Orange?
Regal, Bayshore, Hall Park, then I went straight to Norwalk.
Okay.
I went to PC in Norwalk, and then from there I went to North Haven, then I went to Milford, then I came back to Norwalk, and here we are now.
All right. So you go from PC Richard to Boulevard Karaoke.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So you saved enough money to get this dream thing happening.
I was smart enough to not try to keep up with the Joneses and
Right.
still have a little bit of fun, but not to blow my whole savings.
Right.
And 401k is a hell of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you take a large hit when you cash out early, but you know when you have to do certain things, it's there for you. And I
So
worked
you're
for
all
it.
in.
Oh, this is it.
You push the chips all in.
This is it. Is what poker players call I'm pot committed.
Yes.
Is what I am. I'm pot committed.
And you know, that's an interesting play on words, seeing as how Bridgeport might have a casino. Then you'll really be in.
Then I really be in, right?
That would be a good thing.
Listen, with great risk comes great reward, right? So you have to. Nothing's going to happen if I sit here and I wait for anything to happen.
I'm totally impressed with your risk, the fact that you're not averse to risk. You're going for it. You have a good concept. You probably run a very honest, hardworking business, and you will be very successful in this town.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you allowing me to explain certain things because there's a lot of misconceptions, you know, especially surrounding bars. Mm-hmm. You know, but what people don't know is I'm going to have kids' birthday parties there on Saturdays early in the day. Mm-hmm. You know, think about that. We're going to have mobile vans out there with where we could have karaoke parties at your place. There's a lot of stuff coming down, the pike that's going to be very interesting.
So you'll be delivering karaoke as well.
To birthday parties, correct?
That's a great idea. So you'll have a mobile unit that'll go around.
We're also going to have a sort of you guys heard of paint and sip and paint? Mm-hmm. We're going to have something called sing and sip. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of stuff coming.
Wow. Well, Benny, all I can say is this is really exciting. Before I sign off here, do you want to say anything else about your upcoming venture or about what you want to tell people in terms of what to expect?
I want everyone to know that Boulevard Karaoke, even though it's a bar, it's a family-oriented type of place where you can come down and have fun. You don't have to look over your shoulder. You don't have to be worried about who's going to be there. It's going to be a nice, trendy, relaxed type of environment where you can have a blast and enjoy over 10,000 songs to pick from. Everything from 50 Cent to Billy Joel. Mm-hmm. That's the type of wide array of choices that we have. And I want everyone to know that I love Bridgeport, and I'm really excited to be down here, and I'm so thankful that everyone's been supportive. And I want everyone to give us a shot. Come on down, give us a shot. Let me show you how fun it is to let loose.
I want to thank Elias. Thank you, Elias Rosario. What do you think about what you just heard?
Fantastic.
That's excellent.
Fantastic. Can't wait.
And I want to thank Benny and his wife who attended here today as well. I want to wish you all very well. I hope and pray that your family will enjoy your prosperity and that you'll share it with us in the community and in the things that you do. And I will ask you and invite you to volunteer in this community. We have a lot of opportunities here. And thank you again. And you have just heard another great Bridgeport story. And I want you to tune in March for Boulevard Karaoke.
Boulevard Karaoke. Drink proud, sing loud.